Peace. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I'm making this video today because somebody, one of the viewers on the channel asked in the comments of one of my videos if I would make a video explaining the difference between metaphysics and spirituality. Metaphysics is a very lengthy subject. This video would be very, very long if I was to give a thorough breakdown of the difference between metaphysics and spirituality, and a lot of the video will be based on metaphysics because it's such a broad subject. To be honest with you, I just made a 40-minute video breaking it all down for the person and for the viewers, and then I mentioned something in the video that I did not need to mention, so I had to scrap the video, and here we are, me explaining it to you once again. But I'm gonna try to keep this short because it can get into a really long explanation as you try to show people how what I'm about to try to explain to you in about 10 minutes is a reality. Metaphysics is basically the study of the nature of being, the nature of our reality. And the metaphysics itself, there's many different things that we can think about on a metaphysical level, but the basis of our metaphysical thinking is based on the observation and the recognition of 7 primary laws, meaning that these things exist. These, if you can't even call them things, exist. This is just the way the energy in our reality fluctuate based on these 7 laws. And when I say fluctuate, see, in the previous video I explained all this, but that was damn near 30 minutes just explaining that. The energy, the reality fluctuating is based on how energy is being moved throughout our perceptual reality. Okay, these laws govern the existence of that energy, the existence of that consciousness. Okay, so the 7 laws would be mentalism, vibration, causation, correspondence, polarity, gender, and growth. These 7 laws, the 7 laws that I just mentioned, which can be associated with one of the laws, the law of causation, which is associated with what the Hindus or the East Indian calls karma. See, because this law governs our actions. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Now, this is what's being shared by the West and the Hermetic teachings. These 7 laws are preserved for humanity in the Hermetic teachings. So if you ever want to study the Hermetic laws, they call them the Hermetic laws. I like to generally call them metaphysical laws because these laws existed before Hermetics. So they're not just the Hermetic laws. You see. But they are definitely a reality. So you could study that by getting that book, and then that'll help you understand the basis of what metaphysics is looking at. What the study of metaphysics is looking at. The nature of our being, the nature of our reality. These laws help us to understand that. These laws also are interwoven in our entire reality, including our spiritual reality, our beliefs, our magics, our enlightenments, and everything else. These laws exist within all of that, in every tradition. As I said, I can sit here and spend an hour explaining it to you, like I just did. Or you can do some due diligence or contact me off of YouTube, and maybe I can explain more to you. But These laws are very present in the African traditional religious practices. Very present, regardless if the priest or priestess or practitioner recognizes it or not. These laws are present in our reality just as much as the law of gravity keeps you on the ground. You don't walk around every day thinking about gravity. You just get out of bed and you go about your day. You don't get out of bed like, oh, I wonder is gravity going to be in effect tomorrow? No, you just expect gravity to be there, that law, that force to be present based on the law of what it represents. You expect it to be there. These laws that I'm speaking about, the more subtle laws, are present in the same way. They're present in the same way. So the magician is the person who actually takes these laws and applies them in a spiritual way. He acknowledges them on a spiritual level with a higher consciousness, and is able to work with these laws in such a way that he creates what people would call miracles or magic. But to him, it's simply just a science. To him, he understands that it's a science. These laws are very present in the formation of the African or the Afro-Cuban Criollo practice of Palo Mayombe. The actual version of Palo, the actual version of the law of the Congo, the law of the Congo. You see, the regla of the Congo, right? Which means that, and why I say that these laws are present there is because the original elders who came from Africa, from the Congo, in the different regions, with this science, the science to reanimate a spirit is something that you don't have to necessarily put in an object and carry it with you. They weren't able to carry all of the Nkisi statues and every other fetish that they would create spiritual forces in with them when they came to Cuba. Nor were they able to gather the ingredients which they used to make those fetishes when they got to Cuba. So, there's no wood, there's no trees to make, there's not the type of tree that we need to make the Nkisi statue grown in this part of the world. So what if we use this? Where did the cauldron come from, if that's the case? Where did the clay pots, the gourds, and things like that, where did these things come from? Because these things were not necessarily being used in Africa in that way to contain spiritual vessels. Their primary spiritual fetish is the Nkisi, the Ngandi, and Nkisi statues. But yet we have a whole community of people who originate from the same people in place, warring with each other about the way they practice, because they do not understand the universal laws. They acknowledge a branch of the practice, Kimbisa, and Kimbisa is actually a formation, is actually created based on these laws. The Kimbisa order was created with an understanding of these laws. Andres Petit was not just a palero. He was also a ceremonial magician, a hermeticist, who studied spiritualism from Allan Kardec. So he wasn't just practicing Palo. And his understanding of the universal laws is what gave him the wisdom and insight to bring all the traditions into one system. Kimbisa. So syncretization in itself, in creating something new, growth, the law of growth, the traditions grow naturally. It's man in their limited thinking that thinks that there's only one way to do something. because they want to feel special. Oh, I'm the only one that knows how to do this. I'm the only one that has this. You have to have it the way that I have it, or you really don't have it. It's not true. It's not true. The universe don't work that static like that. The universe is dynamic. And when you understand these universal laws, you absolutely see that, because nothing is really standing still. Everything is always moving, and everything is always in vibration. Everything, because everything is composed of atoms. Metaphysics allows us to understand this and allow us to bring this understanding of reality into our spiritual practice. Now, when there's a vessel being created, now when there are things being done to excite the spirit and get it to do what it is that you want it to do, you understand. Now you have a better understanding why the Patipemba, why the Fima, why these things even work. The Patipemba and the Fima works based on the law of correspondence. Just a bunch of lines, circles, plus signs, arrows, circles. That's all it is. What's giving it the power to be able to do or give the spirit an instruction? It's because of what it represents. This ties into the law of correspondence. This is why we're able to create Patipembas, Fimas, as Tata and Ganga. Because we understand what these symbols represent. And we understand how we can use these symbols to communicate a message to the energy in which we're working with. Through the law of correspondence, through the law of mentalism. See? Even the law of polarity is there. When you're utilizing a Fima or a Patipemba to send energy, and understanding that the law of polarity is in effect when you're sending energy. All of the laws are in effect, but polarity plays a big role when you're sending out energy. You see? So people need to understand that without a metaphysical understanding of what it is that you're doing, and I don't mean a metaphysical understanding from the perspective of being able to manipulate the energy. I mean a metaphysical understanding that is so pure that 99% of the shit that you waste your time doing every day with these forces and these practices is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. It's absolutely unnecessary. We war with each other. Well, they war with each other. I don't war with nobody. I refuse to waste my time warring. Get out of it. That's an insane thought to continue to follow. Why would I want a reality where I'm warring every day? That didn't even make sense. But I am going to teach people about spiritual warfare because it's necessary. They need to know that. They need to know what to look out for, especially Paleros. And seeing as though I learned a lot of information about people who love to war, I'm going to share a little bit of it. But because these laws play heavily in the realm of spiritual warfare, especially because you're sending energy. You're performing actions, whether they be physical or spiritual, it's still an action. You're sending out energy, performing an action. I want this energy to kill. I want this energy to block this. I want this energy to hurt this. I want this energy to do this. At some point, the universe gonna send all that shit back at you. May not be now, may not be tomorrow, but it's gonna be. May not even be in this lifetime. Maybe in the next life. But it's gonna happen. You will experience what you put out there. This is why we don't understand why people be born fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Why was that person born fucked up? They didn't even get a chance to do nothing fucked up. They was just born fucked up. What's the fucking chance and luck of that?